All right, welcome back into Market Day Report. I am the Cow Guy, Scott Shellady. If you want to get a hold of me, Scott the Cow Guy is Twitter. That's it, right? I put up our show after this. I put up what we're doing, where I'm speaking. You can ask where you can buy some of the Cow Guy merch. But anyway, at the Cow Guy, thecowguy.com is the website, and at Scott the Cow Guy is Twitter. All right, let's talk about these markets and bring up corn. I'm trying to deflect you from the corn market. It's been kind of negative all day. Today we're off about a nickel, pretty much a nickel across the board. 471 3/4 is last in March, and that's about a tick off the low of the day. So we're just kind of sitting here. We've been here the last two times I've checked this market. We're nickel lower in May to 484.5, and that too is a tick off the low of the day. So corn trading heavy at the bottom end of the ranges. How about soybeans? Let's see what we've got going on there, and that's been about the same too, about 15.5 cents lower in Jan to 13 and 11.5. That's 2 cents off the low of the day there. March is down 17 and 3/4 cents to 13.22.5, and that too about 2 1/4 cents off the low. So that's the soybeans trading heavy, and we lose anywhere between 15.5 to 17.5 cents as you go out the deferreds. All right, let's go to the wheat market in Chicago. This is where we have a little bit of an up arrow. March is up 5 3/4 cents to 622 3/4. And that's getting closer, about half cent to the high of the day. Not bad, right? 4 3/4 cents higher in the May, right behind it to 632 3/4. Let's move over to the hard red wheat in Kansas City. That's 11 3/4 cents higher in that March contract to 639.5. Just a half cent off the highs there, and we've got an 11-cent rally in the May to 643 3/4, and that's just a half cent off the high there in May. So that's the Kansas City hard red. Let's go to the Minneapolis spring. This wheat market is up 5.5 cents to 727 in the March. That's 4 1/4 cents off the highs, and about, 9 cents off the lows. So there you go. May's up 4 3/4 cents to 735 3/4. So some good wheat boards there for you. How about cotton? That's going to be up 28 points to 79.38. Not bad. About, what's that? I'm going to call that 49 points off the high. And that's cotton, March cotton, 79.39. Let's bring in our next guest analyst. That is Tommy Grisafi. He's with Advanced Trading in Valparaiso, Indiana. All right, Tommy, thanks for being on. It's that time of year. What do you got for us?
Well, the borders matter. I mean, when trains quit flowing into Mexico because we have a border problem, it's a real problem. Look at corn. Look at that sad little corn going down 5 cents. And when you get headlines out there like that, that's the real deal. It's not good. And it's starting to affect farmers' pocketbooks. I did a little talk with my clients this morning. I said, Santa knows who's been naughty and who's been nice. And Santa knows you put the most expensive crop in the ground and you forgot to sell it. We can see that by the positions the elevators have on, by our own conversations with clients, with a wide range of people I talk to as I travel across the country. And then you know it from the analysts you speak with, and also show notes from people calling in. Worse yet is if they don't have a lot of 23 sold, they almost have 0 24 sold. So the question to you, Scott, I will toss it back to you, Santa. Is 505 Ds 24 something you should sell or something you should wait to sell as our cost of production has come down in some ways dramatically as fertilizer prices calm down? The pressure's on you, sir. Go flat price. Buy or sell.
I'll tell you, the best advice that I've heard is sell enough that you need to, to cover your bills in the spring. And maybe you want to re-own with calls to stay in the market, but also make sure that you protect your downside with options as well, because with the inputs we've got out there right now, assuming we have an okay weather market, nothing too dramatic, 505 would be a great price going into next fall. So that's probably some of the best advice I heard there. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have a weather market and things can spike from here. But I think that you have to start, on top of what you just said about maybe being undersold, I also think that that weather that we had wasn't as bad as people thought it was going to be, and a lot of folks pulled out between 10 and 20, maybe even 30% more than they thought they were going to have on top of not selling, right? So I think there's even
Correct.
more out there. So I don't know. What do you think?
My clients in North Dakota, I spent last week in North Dakota, there is big yield up there. I still have a client in Northern Illinois who's still harvesting. It's not because he stinks at farming, it's because his yields were a record yield. Now, that area on the drought map, that prior segment to this, that Eastern Iowa, I have an office there. They did have a production problem there. The question I would pose back before we go on break is if the state of Iowa would have had a record crop, not just an average crop, how big would our carryout be? Time to keep the lights on. Let's take a break. Scott, you were a great guest. We'll have you back on the next segment.
Yeah, right. Thanks a lot. It's the Tommy Grisafi Show. All right, we're going to go away so Tommy can take a quick break and get ready for the next bit. We're going to go away and pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Tommy after this. All right, let's take a look at the cattle. That's what we do on this part of the segment. Let's take a look at live cattle. I've got that one pulled up for us, so let's take a look. I don't want to make too much, but we're off about between 20 and 75 cents across the boards. 75 cents lower now in Feb. Live cattle, 168.87 is last. Now 167.90. We're just about that's 12 cents off the low of the day. Trading heavy as we speak. Live cattle, April's off 60 cents to 172.90. Feeder cattle, what do we have happening there? Well, that's also lower. Jan's down $1.17 to 222 even, and that's just a tick off the low of the day, folks. So that's going to hurt. March is off 95 cents as we've kind of turned lower here. 223.20 is last there, and that too is just a tick off the low of the day. Finally, lean hogs. What do we have happening there? That's over $1 sell-off in that Feb. Feb's down $1.12 to 70.45, and that too is a tick off the lows of the day. April's off $1.32 to 77.25, and that's 2 ticks, a nickel off the low of the day in April. Lean hogs. Let's bring back in Tommy Grisafi. He's still with advanced trading. All right, Tommy. Anything jump out of you there when I read those prices off?
Yeah, the markets are thin and the phones aren't ringing much. And if we're thin this week, it's Tuesday. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a little time off next week. Week between Christmas and New Year's could be really slow. We could see volatile price action. If there's a fund or a group or a liquidation or something happens in these markets, we could see a volatile price rise or a volatile price sell-off. Now, the worst of the worst news has already happened here in the cattle. There is a possibility we can have an air pocket where we rally into the end of the year. Maybe we just had that, maybe that just scenario just played out. Hogs have a problem. We could do a whole special breakout about that, but the numbers in the hogs are looking horrible, and there's some big financial pain in that sector. It's funny, Scott. It's not funny at all, but when corn prices are higher, you think it's going to hurt the hog and cattle guy, and yet sometimes when corn prices explode, the cattle guy does well. It doesn't seem to make sense, but then if you study history, sometimes with higher corn prices, margins are okay. If you're going to look in the camera and say, oh, don't worry about the price of corn came down, that'll help you guys out. It will, but not as much. It's just a bull market and everything. We are no longer in a mega commodity bull cycle some of these ag commodities, and I'm sure you talk about that every afternoon at 1 Central on Scott the Cow Guy.
Well, no, there's been some beneficiaries to this cheap money, and that's gold and crude oil.
Right.
But right now, either the row crops think that something's fishy with the rate hike talk, or they're missing out completely on that cheap money party. So we'll see. It's only time will tell. Really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much, Tommy Grisafi. He's with Advanced Trading in Valparaiso. We'll bring it back here to hand it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Scott.